Hey everybody, welcome to another quick video. This one is just me sharing some of the PDR footage. This is the built-in recorder in the C8 Corvette and the Camaro. A few other cars have had this for some time. Anyways, I was going back through the footage. I wanted to compare a couple of things. One, how did the time compare against the actual time slip itself from the track? And it's actually surprisingly really close. So let's take a look at this first video here. This is me staging, waiting for the Supra, and I think that was a Hellcat about to run. That's a newer Supra MK5. Is that what it is? Forgive me. I'm not up to speed on the new Supra, but it was a new Supra. I think it had exhaust and a tune, perhaps, maybe intake. Not a lot of mods, but he was consistently running low 12s and was spinning quite a bit. So here I am setting up, staging. So my first pass of the day was actually my fastest, as you saw in my previous video, and I'll link that up here on the top. So I'm staging against an MK3 Supra, and from speaking to the owner, he had about 700 horsepower but was still running some street tires. So this was my best time of the day. Traction was pretty good. It launched pretty good. You can see I posted a 0 to 60 of 3.2. As you've seen in some of my other videos, I've actually ran a 2.7 on the street before, so I was hoping to get similar times. And my actual time on this one was actually an 11.77 that I ran. And you can see the PDR says 11.45, so actually a little bit faster than the actual time slip from the track itself. Conditions were pretty good this day. We were in the 80s, you know, with overcast, so you can see the sky is not super sunny, but it wasn't complete overcast either, so temps were okay. It was a nice cool day. Track temp was pretty good. This was at about 2 or 3. This was during qualifying, test and tune, I'm sorry, not qualifying. So I think it started just after 2. They let all the cars with drag radials and slicks go first because of the track prep. And so, you know, by the time I made a run, probably about 120 cars had made a pass already. So it wasn't the stickiest condition because we were on street tires, and those, you know, they tend to damage the track prep. So they let us go later. Here I am at the booth picking up my time slip. And again, this was an 11.77, which ended up being the fastest time of the day for me. A pretty good run. It did spin a little bit. And so I did race mode on this one on PTM 2, which is still some traction control in there. So this was actually my fastest time of the day. I don't know if it was the track prep or what, but I actually consistently ran 11.8 the rest of the day until my last race, which you'll see later in the video, where I run 12.45, and I'll explain why. So let's go to the second race now. Okay, so here I am again waiting behind the same Supra. This was a really cool guy. We actually chatted quite a bit in the pit lanes. That's one of the funs of racing. It's the people that you meet as well. You know, the turnout was awesome, and had a lot of compliments on the car. So here I am staging. I don't do a pre-burnout here, I don't think. I did one later on. Didn't seem to have helped a whole lot. But here we are. So I'm running against a C7 Stingray here. I think he had exhaust. I'm not sure what else in terms of mods. This was a pretty good takeoff. Not the fastest, as you can see, about a 3.5 on the 0 to 60. And quarter mile on this one was 11.8 and some change on the higher end, 11.89, 11.88. So the PDR is off a little bit, as you can see. I think from what I've seen in most videos, it's off on the plus or minus side about a half a second, which I know can be quite a bit. But on the 0 to 60 time, it's usually pretty consistent. On the quarter mile time, I often find that if you ran an 11.5, for example, that it's going to be, you know, pretty close within that time, so not too far off. This one was a little bit more wheel spin on this one. Again, the prep, you know, this was the second pass during the test and tune, so, you know, probably about 200 cars have gone down the track at this point. So here I am again making my way after the run to the booth, and like I said, I think this was the one against the C7 Corvette. Yep, there he is at the front. So you know, typically one of the things to remember when it comes to courtesy and everything else is you're supposed to let the guy that wins exit first. He exited first, which is fine. Again, not a big deal. This is on test and tune. But normally, if you lose, you give the winner the right of way, right? But again, not a big deal. Just for those that haven't been to the track before, it's just something you normally do. But he decided to go. Now on this one, you can see that I actually did do a pre-burnout. That's when you pull the paddles in, floor it, or give it a lot of gas and release the paddles, and it'll, essentially do a rolling burnout, not a standing burnout. I didn't stand on the brakes. I've never tried that, so I didn't want to look like a fool in front of all the people here. Now this run is going to be against a Lancer Evo. I think it's like a mid-2005, 2004. And don't quote me on that because I'm not super versed on these. Now, I thought this was going to be a good run because he was on, he had tires on, drag radios on, and from what I heard, he was making quite a bit of power. But it is a manual car, as you know. So this is one of those big advantages when it comes to a dual clutch or an automatic car. You just normally, it'll be a lot easier for you to get off the line, right? Unless you're racing something similar, in terms of all-wheel drive or something like that, that hooks really well. So this was a pretty easy win. So at this point in test and tune on my third race, I've pretty much won all of them. And once again, pretty good. This was actually an 11.8 as well, like a 11.82. And I can post the time slips later, but pretty close. So that was the third run, won that one. So this is here now where we're approaching the final run of the day. I'll try to embed a video here, and I think I posted it in the last one actually. So if you want to take a look at the actual run from the stands where my buddy filmed and share the video. So I've lowered the PSI here because I was told it would, hook a little bit better. This is later in the evening. As you can see, the sun has gone down. I also did a burnout here as well. So I'm running 28 PSI versus the 34 PSI that I was running pretty much all day and getting pretty decent traction. This was against a C7 C06. He claimed to have about 1,000 horsepower, but was running street tires. You can see I spin really bad. It actually started to turn towards the wall. And on this one, I ran mode race and also PTM race. So everything was completely turned off. Was actually my slowest time of the day. This was actually at 12.5. So again, a little bit off on the PDR, but the 0 to 60 was awful. I spun quite a bit. And he ran at 12.42 actually, and I ran at 12.51, somewhere around there. So again, if I had left my PSI alone and had done PTM2 as opposed to race, I probably could have won. Now this was actually an elimination race, so I was eliminated here because I lost. The race was so close all along the way. Again, if you want to take a look at that video, see my last video I posted, and you can see the actual run from the stands. He actually thought he lost because he stopped for a second, as you can see in the video, and was going to let me drive by. But then he realized that he won because I knew he got me there. At the very end, he caught up. But it was an awesome race because it was dead even, C7 C06 with many modifications according to the owner. At the very least, I know he had exhaust and he had some other stuff done, maybe a tune. So as you know, the C7 C06 starts at about 650 horsepower. Supercharged, so a big advantage over the C8, but it was so close. Again, it always comes down to traction, right? Doesn't matter how much power you make. And if you guys have watched some of my Dodge Viper videos, which made about 700 to the wheel, but I always had it on street tires, I lost to pretty much every car when I went to the track because first, second, and third were pretty much useless. It was just blowing the tire completely out of the water. So anyways, just wanted to share these with you. I hope you enjoyed it from a different perspective from the PDR. I apologize that I didn't turn on the sound so you could hear the cool engine sound, so I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that was even an option to record the sound. I thought it just recorded everything. So I've got that turned on now, and hopefully we'll get some other passes before winter and it's time to put the cars away before the track gets too cold. So anyhow, thanks for watching. If you like these kind of videos, consider subscribing, and we'll be posting some more content. We also do some off-roading Jeep content as well. If you're a subscriber, thank you for the support. Hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out, and leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good week.